Caleb obviously an option to run. It was open early. The only issue I would have is he's a right-handed throwing quarterback, and he's such a good athlete. But if you call the play the opposite way, I think the ball's up a lot earlier. Because when you're rolling to your left and you decide, hey, he knows the flat's already jammed up, he can't go there quickly, he can't really take off to run. They were on him and aware that he was going to run, and Nixon is able to then recover quicker. So when he comes out of his fake, when you're rolling to your left, it's hard to get your shoulders and your hips around to get the ball up early. And that's the only thing. So he ended up being late on the throw. The only other thing he could have done is thrown it deep to the back of the end zone. Like the play call, but I would have preferred it to his right since he's a right-handed quarterback if he had to get it up early, which he did on that particular play. But it's a good play call, just didn't work in their favor.
Yeah, Caleb Williams with his 6th interception this season there on 4th and 1, picked off by Keyshawn Nixon. What did you see? What did you guys see?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm never going to argue with Jim Miller. He played the position, so he knows. But we saw the same play work against Philadelphia.
Yes.
He was late. Jimmy, you called it. He was late getting the football, and he underthrew Cole Kmet there with the pass. And whether he was thinking about going off and taking off and running with the football or not, he was late. I actually like the play call. I know that there are a number of people on social media. I don't know how you feel, Pat, but there are a number of people who felt that they should have gone for the first down on 3rd and 1 and then live to fight another, down. Listen, I didn't like their time management there once they hit the red zone either.
Yeah.
I thought they were burning too much of the clock off. I didn't have a problem with the play called. I just think he failed it, didn't execute it. Sometimes it doesn't happen. The man has executed 5 times this season to lead the NFL. Babe Ruth didn't bat 1,000, folks. Either does Caleb Williams.
Yeah, listen, my biggest issue, I think, with all of it is that you made the decision pretty early in that drive to go, we're going one-play kill shot here, and that was your one-play kill shot. Going away from where you saw him be so good in this game. Tom Brady continued to talk about it. Who's improving, by the way? Shout out to Tom Brady. But you saw it in this game where rolling to his right, on that drive, the pass to Devin Duvernay, he was incredibly efficient. He was killing the Packers in that moment. I thought you went the opposite direction. You gave him an opportunity to run the football. He doesn't take it because that's not the mindset that his coach is putting out there. They wanted to go for the kill shot. You took the chance, but it's going away from where Caleb Williams, yes, he can make that pass. He's good at it.
But he was open.
At that moment, the play.
That was open.
I'm not mad at the play. It's just I feel like you went away from where Caleb's strength was today. It's not to say that Caleb can't make that throw. It's a throw we've seen him make a ton. It's not to say that it's a bad play call. It's a play call that we've seen work. But you got to go with the strength there, in my opinion, and you went away from that.
Jim, jump in here.
It's just more nuanced of a play when you're going to your left. As Pat said, even Tom Brady pointed out on the broadcast, look how awesome Caleb is to his right.
Yeah.
He can make that play. There's no doubt he can make that play. It's just more nuanced of a play as a quarterback because, like I said, when you're coming off of that fake and you got to get your hips and your shoulders around, it's got to be now. It's got to be now, and that's something that he's going to have to put in his Rolodex for next time, that you got to get your hips and shoulders around now because it may be open early, which it was.
Want to remind everyone that's watching right now, especially on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment. We'll read your comment throughout the show and hashtag after the whistle. I mean, listen, the Bears were down 11 points going into the half. They made this a one-score game going into the 4th quarter. Jim, what did you think of the play call overall by Ben Johnson? I feel like he's someone that's so great at making second half adjustments here, so good at seeing the defense and countering it. What did you think of him as a play caller today overall?
Yeah, obviously it was brilliant in the second half. This is what we've talked about earlier. You do not want to play from behind against Green Bay, and that's where the Bears did. They fell in a hole the first half. They didn't run the ball well, had a couple of blown coverages, so they find themselves down a couple of scores. Second half was beautiful. They did everything. They regained the momentum. Those long drives, the 110-play drive, how they were running the football. They had Green Bay on the ropes right where they wanted them. And as Pat pointed out, that was the kill shot play at the end, but they had them right where they wanted. Yeah. Other than the 2 blown coverages, you don't like to play from behind with Green Bay. We said you got to run the ball against these guys. Carolina went up there and rushed for 130. That's the blueprint. You run against Green Bay, you will win. And I do believe the Bears did outrush them. It's just, unfortunately, it happened in the second half, and they gave up 2 explosive plays in the first half.
Jim, they outrushed him, no doubt, but I thought they should have run the football from the start. And they didn't run the football, in my opinion, enough in the first half. 5 of the first 6 plays, Caleb Williams was throwing the football, which surprised me because, yeah, you're right. Rico Dowdle of Carolina had success running for $130 against that defense. You had Philadelphia rush for over 100 yards in their win over Green Bay at Lambeau Field. But I think he then got a hold of himself in the second half at halftime. I don't remember if you guys heard, but the halftime report, it was either Rinaldi or Aaron Andrews said that Ben Johnson wasn't happy with anything they did offensively. He didn't like the way they were running the football, didn't like the way they were throwing the football. And I think he was part to blame for the way that team struggled in the first half.
Here's what I will say to all of that, though. Like, you saw in the second half a lot of the plays that the players need to execute better, honestly. Like the end around to DJ Moore. In the first half, I'm sitting there going, I hate this play call. And then you see the multiple play off of it where you run it the opposite way. The defender says, oh, they're going end around again here to DJ Moore. He follows DJ Moore across. You got the nice little flip pass up to DeAndre Swift that helps you keep that drive going. Ben Johnson calls plays to set up plays for the future, and you got to go out there and have some good execution. I thought we saw a first half where, honestly, the offensive line looked like they were a little bit shell-shocked, especially in pass pro. Early on in that game, you're seeing 6 and 7 in the box. Caleb Williams, you got to be a little bit more accurate. You got to be a little bit more on time. But on his first 9 dropbacks, 5 pressures in his face, and he's not able to get the ball off cleanly, have a clean pocket. So I think the play calling, and as we see with Ben Johnson every time, usually when you go, oh my God, what was that? You'll see that same formation later on in the game, and you'll see why Ben Johnson called that, but the execution has to be there for those plays, and I think that's what was missing completely in the first half.
By the way, second time this season where the Bears went scoreless in the first quarter. Let's talk about Micah Parsons and what he was doing to this Bears offensive line. Jim, what did you see today from how the Bears faced Micah? I mean, that guy is a game wrecker.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off of what Lou and Pat just said there, I think the Bears were shocked with their team speed defensively. That's what they are. They're a speedy rush team, and he can give you problems where he can beat you on the edge quickly. He can be disruptive inside because they move him around, and they'll bring some nuanced blitzes is what Jeff Hafley will do up the middle. And it shocked the Bears a couple of times. But I think it's their team speed, which reinforces Lou's point to start the game. In order to beat speedy defenses, you pound them. You pound them and you run them. You take that because ultimately they will slow down and they will start to surrender. And unfortunately, that happened in the second half. I thought the Bears were brilliant from the second half. If they fell down more than 2 scores the first half, I don't think that game plan would have continued the second half. They would have been out of their run game, in my opinion. Luckily, it worked in their favor. They started to log the first down. They started to pound them, and it slowed down Green Bay in their speed. And that's not just Micah. It's Cooper, their running backs. They've got a very speedy defense, and they started to neutralize it from the get-go in the second half. They scored their first 2 drives, no problem. And all that just started to wear on Green Bay, which set up that final drive, which probably should have been a score. I think we all feel it should have been a score.
Yeah.
Commitment to the run really wore down this Green Bay defense today, right, guys?
Well, I think it wore down their defense, but it also took Micah Parsons out of the game. And we talked about it all week. How do you take a guy like Parsons, 0, who's got 12.5 sacks, who's got all these quarterback pressures this year? How do you make him a non-factor? You run at him like you run at most.
Yep.
And I know, and you know, it's funny, Big A and I talked in Bears Game Day Live earlier this morning that maybe Parsons doesn't get enough credit, okay, for his run defense because he did have a handful of tackles for loss going into this game. But you saw when the Bears were running at him, you were lathering up that offensive line. They were gaining confidence. They wanted to keep running the football. Suddenly, you were running downhill against this Green Bay defense, which you needed to do from the start. So as the game wore on, late in the second half, I felt far more comfortable with the way the Bears were executing offensively, and I felt like Caleb Williams felt more comfortable in taking chance plays like he did at the very end there.
And the one thing I'll say about what we saw out of how the Bears attacked Mike in the second half, that I think it is an entire game process. I spoke with Nguyen on the Chicago Bears podcast this week, Low Eye on the Enemy episode, and he said, if I was going to run at Micah, you send somebody at him every play, and you chip him, and you hit him, and you light those ribs up just a little bit. It don't have to be egregious, but enough to let you know the entire game I'm there. You saw at the end of that game, those last 2 drives, and even kind of down the stretch there on that final play, Micah was gassed. Now, is he a phenomenal player that can go out there and say, I got to dig a little bit deeper on this last play and create a pressure? 100%. And I think that's what you saw. But you saw a second half where Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary, guys like that were kind of taken out of the game because of how this Bears team attacked. And I'll be honest with you, like, it gives you, not to say that you're not upset at the loss. I think you, of course, if that play hits, you win this game or you tie this game, you're going to OT. Tom Brady's talking about maybe we go for 2 here. And I walked out to Tina. I'm like, is he crazy enough to go for 2? And we all kind of nodded like, yeah, Ben Johnson's crazy enough to possibly go for 2.
And I also felt, because I understood what Brady was saying, your defense couldn't slow their offense
100%.
down. So why not go for the win?
100%. But I thought that you felt like in the second half, it was a team that you could be proud of, the way that they played, the way they fought back. And that shouldn't take away from what you feel about the Bears. Yes, you're not the number 1 seed in the NFC anymore. Yes, you're not number 1 in the NFC North anymore. But you're a 9-4 football team that does not give up and gave everything that they had today and was 1 play away from making it a bigger game.
Can I follow up on what Pat just said? Because, you know, there are, and I know that our players will argue, and Ben Johnson will be first to tell you, no, there is no such thing as a good loss.
Not a moral victory, yeah.
I believe that this is a good loss. Jim, tell me I'm wrong. You played the game, but I'll tell you what, they had won 5 in a row. We know the fashion in which they had won some of these games. 4 games left on the schedule. Man, there's nothing better than reconnecting with your players, a coach and his players, after a tough loss where you walk out of Lambeau and you're like, damn it, we should have won that game. It was there for us to win. We got 4 games left, and, man, we need to win on December 20th. I feel like the Bears played hard in that second half. They showed that they belonged at Lambeau Field, and they're going to come back home to play the Browns and Myles Garrett next week, another great pass rusher. We have seen that this Bears offensive line can handle the best pass rushes in football. Yeah. Minnesota, J.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, I don't want to hear it anymore. The Giants' defensive line. The Bears can handle Myles Garrett as well. And then you've got the Packers again on December 20th for all the marbles. I know you still got San Fran and Detroit to wrap up the season. I think that this win, I think it was Ben Johnson, maybe it was Dennis Allen, but one of the coaches a couple of weeks ago said, when you lose, you get their attention even more. Yeah. You agree, Jim?
Yeah, because I think they know they missed. They made a couple of plays where it cost them the game. The 2 blown coverages, and obviously you look at that last play and how they couldn't execute. They can just execute better. I don't think the Bears doubt at all that they can go into any stadium on the road and compete with any team in the National Football League. They have already done that. All right, that bridge has already been crossed. They went into Philadelphia, a standalone game in prime time, and the whole country saw what they could do. So I don't think confidence is an issue. I think where they're upset at themselves is for what you just said. You had a couple of blown coverages that got to be cleaned up in the first half, and you've got that last play when the game's on the line. Gotta have it. Hey, man, I got to come through for my team. I got to make a play, but their confidence, they're feeling high, and they know they can beat anybody on any day.
Yeah, well, the Bears, by the way, we'll see the Packers once again on December 20th. We need to take our first time out here on After the Whistle. Coming up next, by the way, we still haven't talked about this Bears defense yet. We got to talk about that. We're going to give you who is our dog of the day. Then you'll hear from Bears head coach Ben Johnson as well. Stay with us.
hype about a lot, if we're being real. I mean, DeAndre Swift, dog. Caleb Williams, dog. Can I get a Ben Johnson, dog?
We've got C.J. Gardner-Johnson,
Dog.
and Caleb Williams,
Dog.
I'd like to add one more on top of that. Jake Moody,
Dog.
Is this thing catching on? We got a sign out there that says, "Oh, Doomsday is my dog." I like it. I like it. All right, back here on After the Whistle, Tina Nguyen, Luke Canellis, Pat the designer, and former Bears QB Jim Miller here with you. Bears see their 5-game win streak coming to an end. They fall to the Packers 28-21. Jim, I'll start with you. Who is your dog of the day?
This one's easy. You got to go with Manungai. That dude was lowering his shoulder. He brought the big boy pads today. I thought he had some really tough runs when the Bears and it set up their play action pass. Their play action pass has yet to hit full strength, but Manungai is a big part of it. He's my dog today. Rough. Kyle.
Rough from Jim.
Come on,
Miller
give
there.
me more.
Oh, all right, Luke. Who is your dog of the day?
You know what? It's tough. I want to pick the whole team. I'm proud of this Bears team in defeat. I really am. I'm proud of those Bears fans who I could hear at Lambeau Field making noise through the TV when the Bears had tied it up at 21. You know, I'm looking at guys on defense, and I felt that the defense struggled. But don't forget, this is a defense, guys, that learned just before kickoff that Kyler Gordon wasn't playing. He injured his groin during the pregame warm-up. So suddenly your secondary, everyone's been working together. Now it shifts. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was so tough to start the football game, finished up leading the Bears with 10 tackles. I'm going to go running back. If you're going to force me to pick one guy, I'll go running back, and I'm not going Manungai. I'm going DeAndre Swift. I thought he fought hard between the tackles. All right, he made things happen. I think I saw 1 or 2 zone runs, but for the most part, it was up the middle trying to run downhill. I'm going with Swift.
You know what? I'm gonna go.
No barking from Luke Canellis.
No barking from Lou. No barking.
Ruff, ruff.
There you go.
Losing older dog. You know, they ring the doorbell.
Come on, man.
They come up to the door a little
I'm working
later.
up a lather
They
in
give
this
you one
shirt.
good oof, and then they're like, all right, that's enough.
All right,
No. Listen, I'm gonna go with Caleb Williams. I feel like I know the interception happens. I thought that there was a lot that could have happened before that play that puts you in a better position. But you know what? In a second half where we haven't said this very often, we were down 14-3, and Caleb Williams led you down the field multiple times through some beautiful footballs. I mean, that one that gets in there to Luther Burden. I mean, like just in the end zone.
By the way, Burden led this team with 4 receptions in the game.
Stepped up in a massive way in replace of Roma Dunze. Like, to me, like, I think that you look at that and you say in the second half, not only did you have a quarterback that came to play and kind of brought his team back, but that led this team and was the identity of this team in the second half. While the run game was still there, Caleb Williams was getting the job done. So Caleb Williams, for me, going to be my dog here.
All right, there you have it. All right, want to remind everyone that's watching, especially on YouTube, keep your comments coming. We'll read them throughout the show. Let's, guys, talk about this Bears defense. Is this the best quarterback this Dennis Allis defense has faced so far this season, Jim?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Jordan Love is a finished product yet. I will say this about Green Bay. That was probably the best third down offense the Bears have faced. Like going into the season, I think even from week 5 up to week 5 to week 7, they were like 4th or 3rd in third down conversions. And today they were pretty good in third down conversions as well. Green Bay was. Bears kind of throttled them in the second half. But no, Jordan Love to me is not the best quarterback. He's not a finished product yet, but he had a fine game today.
Yeah, he had a really good game, Jim, and I'll add this, man. This guy's playing his best football, always does in the months of November and December. Sometimes makes it look so easy. And when you don't put pressure on him and you give him the ability to sit back there, he's such an accurate passer. That's what worries me most about Jordan Love. You give him time, and he's got 5-6 targets. Man, we talked about it on Bears Blitz with Big A and Cassie. You run down the wide receivers, and that wide receiver core of Green Bay's is getting healthy. Christian Watson may be, if he's not the best wide out in the NFC North right now, 6'4", runs like a deer, got past the secondary in that game. I'm going to give Jordan Love, you played the position. So, I mean, I'm just going to say, hey, I think Jordan Love deserves more respect than I gave him at the beginning of the season when there was all this talk about Jordan Love being an MVP candidate. And I'm like, You guys are crazy. I don't think he's that good. I think he's a waste at $220 million, but he's proven me wrong right now.
Listen, he played well today. You've seen the ups and downs of Jordan Love. You've seen him be this guy season after season. You've also seen him be the guy who throws the untimely interception. You had an opportunity there. You don't go out there and be able to put up points in that situation. I think that was a tough moment in the first half for you. But I'll be honest with you, like, we're all going to focus in on the last play because the quarterback didn't make the pass, and that's what all the angst and all the hate will come down on the neck of the quarterback. But to me, I look at this defense on that drive that puts them up 28-21. You had two opportunities where you could have got Josh Jacobs down to win this football game, and you didn't get it done. A 3rd-and-1 opportunity where literally everyone is around Josh Jacobs, and they all look at him like, are you going to tackle him? Are you going to Oh, well, now he's gone. I thought in the red zone, there was a big moment there where T.J. Edwards calls out a move call. If Austin Booker stands still, you've got a 5-yard penalty now going the other way. Instead, Austin Booker jumps in that moment, young player, learning how to get the job done, right? And all of a sudden now you're giving them 5 yards. So I thought that there were just so many moments where this Dennis Allen defense has put teams away in the past that we didn't see today. And that was, to me, what really puts you in a tough light here in the second half.
All right, Bears once again fall to the Packers 28-21. Let's hear from Bears head coach Ben Johnson right after the game.
Obviously, when it comes down to the wire like that and you're on the losing side of it, it's disappointing. But a lot of credit to our guys in the second half there, making it a game down 14-3 at halftime, and yet it coming down to the last 30 seconds and potential to tie that game up, or whether it's overtime or go for the 2-point, So really close at the end, but give a lot of credit to Green Bay. They made a couple more plays than us. Their offense was explosive. They found some big plays, resulted in touchdowns on us. And then fortunately there in the second half, our offense was able to find its footing a little bit, both in the run game and the passing game, and it felt like we had a little bit of rhythm. So made it a game, but fell short at the end of the day. So open it up from there. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of options there. I don't know exactly who's going to pop necessarily, but between the options that we have and then Caleb using his legs, was hopeful we could find a way to get a yard there. The play? No. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a really good defense. I think at home this year they're averaging 13.5 points per game and 240 yards per game. So we knew it was going to be a big challenge. You go on silent cadence against a really good pass rush group like that. They get off the ball and they pressure your quarterback, and we certainly felt that there in the first half and in the second half too. I thought Caleb was doing everything he could. He put his Superman cape on a few times to not go down, extend the play, and he found a couple big scrambles for us over the course of that game, which, earlier in the season you would have said that we really had a hard time finding. But, I think it was Duvernay down there on their sideline. That was a huge play. And then the Cole Kmet catch down on our sideline was a huge play as well. So, I think we got a prideful group. We weren't happy, we weren't pleased with our first half performance on offense. And sometimes just coming in and catching your breath for a second allows you to hit that reset button, and our guys responded the right way. Yeah, that's one of those things. Again, I got to go back and I got to look at the tape. But it did seem like we were man-to-man on one of them, and their guy beat our guy. I know on another one they seemed like they had a good play design based on our coverage, and that happens at times. So I got to go back and I got to look at some of those and what we could have done a little bit better. Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of knew that going into the week that he may not be available, and so something that we're conscious of. The fortunate thing for us is we have weapons all over the place. Our tight end room is very strong. Our running back room is strong. We have a lot of depth in that receiver room. I know Luther certainly had a little bit more on his plate here this week, and I thought he handled it pretty well from my perspective without seeing the tape yet. And so I don't think that necessarily we missed a beat, but yet Rome is such a vital part of what we do, and in a lot of ways for Caleb, it's his blankie, and they got such a great natural rapport that when a guy like that's out, then, other guys got to step up, but yet he is a big part of what we're doing. I mean, shoot, I think this division in general is a very tough division. I think all four teams are neck and neck and, battling it out. And, I think our guys were confident coming into the game that we were going to be able to come away with a W in this one, and we fell short. Like I said, we just didn't make it a couple plays there when we needed to. And so, like I said, credit to Green Bay. I mean, it's a really good defense. I give Coach Halfley his flowers. They do a phenomenal job.
All right, you just heard from Bears head coach Ben Johnson there. Obviously, they weren't happy with how that first half went, but overall, they faced a really good Green Bay defense. The offense for the Bears finally woke up in the second half. You got to be proud of the way that this team fought, as you mentioned, Lou.
17 plays, 83-yard drive, 8 minutes, 32 seconds on the road at Lambeau to tie this game up at 21. After you struggled in the first half, I'm proud of the way this Bears team, they had a shot at the end to tie it up, maybe even win it if they decided to go for two. Nothing to be unhappy about. Yes, they blew a couple of opportunities. Sometimes you execute, sometimes you don't. The head coach had mentioned it right there. Ben Johnson said, it's a Green Bay defense that you said is pretty darn fast. Yeah. He agreed, and it was averaging only 13.5 points a game to opponents at Lambeau Field. You're playing on the road against the Green Bay crowd. Hey, man, the Bears put themselves in the win. Nothing to be unhappy about. Jim?
Yeah, you put yourself in a great position, I thought. I thought that you tried to attack Green Bay where they were weakest in the second half, and you never gave up. You never lost faith. And I'll be honest with you, this is something we didn't see last season, right? Like when you saw the Bears go down 14-3, it was over, and we all knew it within our hearts that, this game is absolutely done for. I didn't feel like that today. We did the halftime video, and I said if this team continues to trust in Ben Johnson, trust what this staff has put together, they will be able to fight their way back into this game, and they were. So I do feel a sense of pride around the fact that you competed. It sucks that you lost to the Packers. It sucks that it's a double loss, essentially dropping you in the division, and now you're 1-3 in the division. It's going to be incredibly difficult for you the rest of the way. You have to be almost perfect to put yourself in a great position to make the playoffs. But to me, I look at this team, and I see a team that is never out. I see a week ahead versus the Browns where you can use that possibly as a get-right week. They're a team that's trying to figure out some of their own struggles. And then after that, you got Green Bay right again. Nobody's going to cry for you over here, especially in that building. And they're going to go in there, they're going to put the work in, they're going to get it right. And hopefully the second time you see Green Bay, it's a little more controlled.
Jim, what do you make of Ben Johnson's remarks there after the game?
Yeah, I agree. It hurts. You can tell the coach. They know they stubbed their toe on a couple of plays. But if I'm a player coming out of that game, Green Bay just gave you their best. All right, they're full strength. They got guys back like Jaden Reed, all the stuff that Lou was talking about. I can't wait to play them again in Soldier Field because we started slow. If I'm a player, you're going to go in that locker and say, hey, guys, we started slow. That ain't happening the next time. We know their speed. We felt their speed, and we took care of it the second half and settled the score. But now we got to do it from the get-go. I think the Bears will be fine the rest of the way out through the season. This team is peaking at the right time, in my opinion. Defensively, they got to shore a couple things up. There's no doubt about that. They got to shore a couple things up.
Ben Johnson has said before that he wants this team playing their best football in the month of December. And by the way, yes, it is December, right? Yeah. We need to take another time out here on After the Whistle. Coming up next, we'll talk more about the Bears, and especially since they'll be facing the Packers once again on December 20th. Stay with us. the schedule. Can you guys believe that? The Bears back at home next Sunday. They'll take on the Browns. And then once again facing the Packers on December 20th there. And then you've got the 49ers and Lions to finish up the regular season. But what is your level of optimism as you look at the road ahead here for this team?
I have great optimism that they're going to run the table. I'm going to call it right now. They're going to go 4-0. They're going to finish out this season. I think that Ben Johnson and his coaching staff, you've got a guy who was a head coach twice in this league in Dennis Allen, who knows what it's like to get his players prepared. We've been talking about Al Harris. We've been talking about a guy like linebackers coach Richard Smith, who's been around the league more than any other assistant coach in football. He's been in this position. I think the Bears coaches will give their players the best chance to win. You look at the schedule, yeah, it's tough. They've got an easy one. I hate to call it easy when you're going up against Myles Garrett, but you've got the Browns and then the Packers back here. San Fran's fighting with Seattle and the Rams right now. And then you finish up with a team like the Lions in the last game of the season that's on life support right now. But the Packers don't have it easy either, guys. No. They've got 4 teams over 500 still left on their schedule, which includes Minnesota that came back and whipped Washington's ass today.
Yeah, listen, for me, I'm confident in where the team is at. I don't know if I'm calling 4-0 just yet, but I do think that you can feel confident that, Jim said it, they gave you their best shot today. And this Packers team is a team that people have talked about as a Super Bowl contender this season. And you were supposed to be just kind of figuring out your offense at this point and kind of starting to put games together. Now you're 9-4 in this division. You've got a couple of divisional games left that could put you in a great position to finish this season off. I don't know if I'm going to go 4-0, but I will say I do feel confident that the Bears have the better situation going into both of these divisional games.
Jim, jump in here. You agreeing with Lou? Bears going 4-0?
I think they've got an opportunity to do that because they're still an ascending team. They have not played their best football. They're playing good football, but they have not played their best football overall. So, yeah, I think they've got an opportunity. The Browns have a great defense. If I'm the Bears offense, playing the Browns this week is going to be a good test for pass pro, things like that, and just their passing attack overall, just straight drop back passing. Their play action pass game's getting there, but their straight drop back game has yet to be unleashed. They still have a lot of good football left to be out there for teams to game plan against. So, yeah, I do think they have the opportunity to do that. I think that highly of how disciplined and how well they're playing right now.
Jim, the Bears are going to see the Packers again on December 20th. What's the level of difficulty of facing this team in such a short period of time?
Hey, bring it on. They showed you their cards. I mean, Dennis Allen, like those 2 big plays, Green Bay went a lot of no huddle today because they didn't want Dennis Allen to line up in the multiple looks he allows or he normally does every single week. So the Bears are going to be prepared for some things that Green Bay showed their hand. And if I'm a player, I'd be salivating because I would walk away from this game saying the better team lost today and that we're going to make up for it the next time. That's not happening again.
I want to jump in because I agree with Jim. I think that the Bears were the better team in this football game in the second half. Yeah. I think they took the Packers' best shot in this football game and will be better for it on December 20th.
Yeah, listen, that's the hope. And I think the one thing that I love about divisional play, I know everything about you, you know everything about me, who's going to be more physical. Today in the first half, the Packers were the more physical team. In the second half, I thought the Bears showed that they were the more physical team. I would almost guarantee you going into this next game in Chicago at Soldier Field, Bears fans packing that place out, Chicago Bears are probably going to be the more physical team, and to me, that's what it's going to come down to.
You know both teams are going to be very excited for that game once again. And, of course, that's going to be right here at Soldier Field in Chicago. All right, guys, that will do us here on After the Whistle. Tina Nguyen, Lou Canellis, Pat the Designer, and Jim Miller. Thank you, everyone, that's joining us on our social and digital platforms. And a reminder, we'll see you here next Sunday when the Bears are back at home to face Myles Garrett and the Cleveland Browns.